The shocking case surrounding D4vd, whose real name is David Burke, has sent waves through both the music industry and the public, as prosecutors allege he is responsible for the brutal killing of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. According to authorities, the rising artist has been charged with first-degree murder and multiple additional crimes after the teen's dismembered remains were discovered in a vehicle linked to him months after she was reported missing. Prosecutors claim the killing was carried out to silence the victim and protect his career, painting a disturbing picture of a case that has quickly become one of the most chilling celebrity crime stories in recent memory.
It's the latest on the murder case against the rapidly rising singer known as David. He is being held without bail after pleading not guilty to first-degree murder. He appeared in court on Monday, 4 days after his arrest and more than 7 months after 14-year-old Celeste Rivas was found dead. Prosecutors claim he killed her to cover up their illegal relationship, and he could now face the death penalty. Inside a Los Angeles courtroom Monday, David Burke, also known as the musician David, dressed in a black sweatshirt, stood behind a glass partition as his attorney entered his plea of not guilty.
We believe the actual evidence will show David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez.
The 21-year-old is charged with first-degree murder with special circumstances in the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas, including committing the crime for financial gain, lying in wait, and murdering a witness in an investigation. If convicted, he could face the death penalty.
The financial gain was for Mr. Burke to maintain his very lucrative musical career that Celeste was threatening.
Prosecutors allege Celeste Rivas was a runaway, just 13 when she met with David and was allegedly sexually abused by him. They say David invited Celeste to his home on April 23rd of last year. She was never seen again. Her decomposed remains were discovered less than 5 months later, dismembered inside Burke's impounded Tesla.
Do you believe that David was trying to lure Celeste in order to murder her?
He invited her ultimately with the idea that he was going to murder her.
You're saying that he knew he was going to murder her on that day and that you have evidence to prove that?
Yes.
In a statement, David's family said they are terribly disappointed by the charges and stand by him 100%. We spoke to high-profile criminal defense attorney Mark Garagos, who is not representing the defendant.
Is there any smoking gun? Is there any direct evidence that the DA seems to have right now?
No, this appears to me to be the quintessential circumstantial evidence murder case. If the DA thought they had a slam dunk case, they would have indicted it early on.
Now, David's team should begin to see the evidence the DA has against their client within 48 hours or so. That has been kept a close secret so far. While Rivas's cause of death has not been revealed, the district attorney says the coroner's report will be soon released, though the criminal complaint does mention a, quote, sharp weapon was used. David is slated to be back in court on Thursday for a preliminary hearing.
Before we get into the gruesome details of the case, we need to talk about the young girl at the center of this tragedy. Celeste Abigail Rivas Hernandez was only 14 years old, a girl from Lake Elsinore, California, with her whole life ahead of her. Her family, who immigrated from El Salvador, has been living a nightmare for years. Celeste was reported missing 3 times in the final year of her life. She last ran away in April 2024, and the last time her family heard her voice was in May of that same year. For months, they held out hope, but that hope was shattered in the most horrific way possible. The story took a dark turn on September 8, 2025. In a quiet neighborhood in the Hollywood Hills, a Tesla had been sitting abandoned on Bluebird Avenue for weeks. It was eventually impounded and towed to a yard. It was there that workers noticed a foul odor coming from the vehicle. When authorities opened the front trunk, the frunk of the Tesla, they made a discovery that would haunt them. heavily decomposed human remains stuffed inside a black bag. The car was registered to none other than David Burke. Forensic experts later confirmed the remains belonged to Celeste. Even more disturbing, investigators believe she had been dead since the spring of 2025, meaning her body had been hidden for months while D4vd continued his rise to fame, even performing on a world tour while the remains were allegedly in his possession. As the LAPD dug deeper, the connection between the singer and the young girl became undeniable. Allegations surfaced that the two had matching tattoos and had been seen together in photographs. Even more concerning were reports that they met through the internet, specifically on Discord, as early as 2022. In his official server, users had referred to a girl named Celeste as his girlfriend years prior. When police executed a search warrant at Burke's Hollywood Hills property, they found something truly sinister: a burn cage incinerator. While the investigation is ongoing, the evidence suggests a level of premeditation and cruelty that is hard to wrap your head around. The charges filed against him in April 2026 include not just murder, but also lewd acts with a child under 14 and the mutilation of human remains. So, how did David allegedly get here? How did he get to this place where his life is now on the line? David Anthony Burke wasn't your typical struggling artist. Born on March 28, 2005, he grew up in a home that many would describe as unusually well-to-do. His family was stable, deeply religious, and his parents were still together, a far cry from the broken heart themes he would later become famous for. But the real story lies in his lineage. David's father, Dawood Burke, is a heavy hitter in the professional world. He's a highly experienced regional litigation support project manager for a massive global firm, a company with 75 offices and over 1,500 attorneys. This was a family with resources, influence, and a strong professional pedigree. David was homeschooled, protected, and provided for. But as we've seen so many times, even the most stable homes can have hidden cracks. While his physical world was structured, David's digital world was a different story. Reports suggest he had mostly unsupervised access to the internet from a young age. By 13, he was deep into the world of Fortnite, joining a professional gaming team called Chronic. This is actually where his music career started, not out of a passion for art, but out of necessity. He was making Fortnite montages, and the popular music he used kept getting hit with copyright strikes. So he picked up an app called BandLab and started making his own beats just to keep his videos online. He was a kid who learned how to navigate the system, how to build an audience, and how to live a life entirely behind a screen. It was in this digital playground, the world of Fortnite and Discord, that David first met Celeste Rivas Hernandez. According to former teammates, they met around 2021. At the time, David was about 16 and Celeste was just 11 years old. David reportedly encouraged her to get on Discord, and she soon became a constant presence in his server. By the time she was 12, she was a known figure among his gaming circle. Some teammates claimed David would joke about it whenever their relationship was brought up. There were even darker whispers, allegations of assault that were brushed off as jokes or drama. But as the two grew older, the connection became more visible. They were seen in Los Angeles together, and they even got matching shh tattoos on their fingers, a silent bond that would eventually lead to a loud and public tragedy. Not only was David carrying on with this young female, apparently it has been said that she may not be the only one. From checking out some of the videos and going through screenshots of messages, I don't know if he was obsessed with Celeste or not, but some things look like weirdo behavior trying to hide behind being an artist. When this trial starts, I believe the attorneys will probably look more closely at David's music, and is it possible that he could be telling on himself? Looking back, you see a young man with every advantage, yet one who was deeply immersed in a digital world where the lines between reality and content were blurred. He was a homeschooled kid from a well-to-do family who became a superstar, all while maintaining a relationship that many now see as the beginning of the end. The music industry is reeling. D4vd's tour has been canceled, his label is under fire, and fans are left wondering how someone who sang about love could be accused of such a monstrous act. For Celeste's family, there is no comfort, only a long road toward justice. This case serves as a tragic reminder of the dangers that can lurk behind a screen and the devastating reality of a life cut far too short. What are your thoughts on this developing story? Let's talk about it in the comments below.